Boy, Kyle, I sure am glad that we've managed to go an entire day without some grim new development in the anti-discrimination lawsuit against Activision Blizzard.
I know. I was looking forward to a world where the most scandalous thing we were dealing with was a Call of Duty Vanguard reveal trailer with no Activision on it.
That's an extremely specific response. But yeah, I mean, ABK leadership still hasn't addressed any of the 4 specific demands of their employees. But, at least they fired key leadership from their troublesome human resources department. I mean, surely the HR department must be cooperating with the lawsuit.
Everything burns.
California has expanded its anti-discrimination lawsuit against Activision Blizzard, citing interference from HR. Sometimes, Kyle, my God. What happened was this was originally reported by Megan Farouk-Manesh and Stephen Totillo on Axios.com. An expansion to the existing anti-discrimination lawsuit has, quote, added temporary workers to the female full-time employees, of whom California is suing on behalf, and California's Department of Fair Employment and Housing, you're going to hear this referred to a lot as DFEH, alleges that Activision Blizzard has interfered with the state's investigation, stating that documents, this is a quote, by the way, documents related to investigations and complaints were shredded by human resource personnel. What?
Okay.
This is mustache twirling levels of absurd.
It is. One kind of reason for this might be pointed out by Jessica Gonzalez here, who says HR destroyed the documents related to the lawsuit, which means the fine for doing so was less than the penalty for what it was.
Yeah, and that sentiment is going around a lot. Jessica's tweet too is like, what even put this on my radar? This is the first tweet, first anything I saw about the story. Then I went digging for it.
So the basics of the law here is that once the investigation begins, you cannot remove even any documents from computers, move them around at all, let alone destroy them. So at a 2-year ago mark, when they started the investigation, you must keep everything until it is over. The exact wordage across the internet, some is deleted, but shredded seems to come up repeatedly. So this was not a mistake. There were physical hands grabbing physical papers, placing them inside machines to destroy them.
Yeah, which it's just, it sounds extremely damning. I mean, it's just another thing in a long line of very questionable behavior. So since this article has come out, obviously plenty of other articles have come out reporting on this as well, some including additional tidbits. Like if you go over to Wowhead right now, they actually have scans of the updated lawsuit documentation, which I would recommend going and checking out because I wasn't able to find it anywhere else. So there's that, because that's how this was even found out. There's been essentially an update, an addendum to the ongoing lawsuit that the DFEH has brought against Activision Blizzard, which was, changing some wording to also include contract workers into who was being represented. But then also this allegation that Activision Blizzard shredded documents pertaining to this investigation. Since then, a spokesperson for Activision Blizzard has responded to the Axios report, refuting the claims, saying, and this is a direct quote, "With regards to claims that we have destroyed information by shredding documents, those claims are not true. We took appropriate steps to preserve information relevant to the DFEH investigation." But they also went on to say, quote, "We have provided the DFEH with clear evidence that we do not have gender pay or promotion disparities. Our senior leadership is increasingly diverse, with a growing number of women in key leadership roles across the company." And it's just like, I'm going to back up to the quote, "We took appropriate steps to preserve information relevant to the DFEH investigation." Like, I can't help but read that and go, are you deciding what's relevant to the investigation? Because that's how that reads.
The message from Activision Blizzard for this whole thing has been, this should have been an internal affair. Why are you getting involved, California government? To which the government is saying, you got us involved. To go back a little bit further, too, the fact that they expanded it from employees and to workers to encompass everybody is a really big deal, because we're now seeing those temporary workers and their plight on top of everything else. In fact, one of the quotes that's been surfacing is, as a contract employee, I felt there was a lot of pressure to excel, impress, and move through the ranks as fast as I could before your contract ends. There are stories of you're basically then put on a probation when they decide what to do with you. If you get to become a full-time employee, if they renew your contract. Contract employees, temp workers, it's a whole different thing. There's a purchasing of that contract that goes on. It can be very expensive for the company to hire on a full-time worker from contract. But the fact is that they were not excluded from this mistreatment during their temporary time there.
Right. That's kind of the basic gist of why some of the wording as far as who is being represented was updated. But again, I just find ABK's response unhelpful. Like, I don't see they're not saying you didn't preserve information that you thought was relevant. They're saying you didn't preserve all information.
But they shared the goal of a safe and inclusive workplace that rewards employees equally and is committed to setting an example that others can follow.
It's just, I mean, and so, like, I guess, like, we shouldn't be surprised by the response because it is in line with the rest of the kind of soulless corporate responses that have come out so far. Whenever anything relating to this lawsuit has come out, but like saying our senior leadership is increasingly diverse with a growing number of women in key leadership roles across the company, like, yeah, because you like fired Fall Guy J. Allen Brack and put co-leaders in place, one of which is now a woman. Like, it's not like that just, oh, cool, wipe the slate clean, which, like, there were so many, like, people making that comment when that news broke. That's like, okay, first of all, firing J. Allen Brack was not one of the requests of the employees. Again, there are 4 specific requests that ABK has not addressed at all. They seem to just be pretending it doesn't exist. And then they fired J. Allen Brack, and then they, put in 2 new leaders, and a lot of the community around it, surrounding this, was going, okay, yeah, but that's not what the employees were asking for. And like, what, you think just like putting new leadership in and, one of these 2 new leaders is a woman, suddenly this is all fixed? And so when you put out a statement like this saying, oh, our senior leadership is increasingly diverse. Yeah, because of this lawsuit, because of everything that's come to light. And it's just ridiculous.
It's important to continue to call that out, that the workers have not been addressed for the requests that they are making. What this update is all about this new segment here at 165 through 166 mainly, that the DFEH also was informed and is aware that documents and records have not been maintained as required by law. Complaints were shredded by human resources. Emails were deleted 30 days after employee separation. And it goes on like this to talk about how this is in violation of the government codes.
Yeah, again, it's like the DFEH isn't saying you didn't keep things that you thought were relevant. It's that you didn't keep all things. That, like, you're breaking the law. This isn't a question of what you think is relevant as far as the DFEH is concerned.
And the Activision statement back is not addressing this issue. This is what has advanced here, not the fact that you have now made hires or fires to change your workplace.
Yeah, it seems to be just another in a long line of misdirection from ABK corporate statements. It's getting old, but also, like, I don't know, like, I'm not surprised. Again, no. Like, I'm giving my kind of personal reaction to this, but like, this is they're not going to own up to it and now, like, after this, like, again, no one here is currently speaking as a lawyer, but it sure seems like if there was any hope for a settlement, reading over this, it's like, I'm pretty sure this is going to court now.
Of course. Well, and the danger is that by removing these documents, they are saving money. That they no longer, the people in need of compensation aren't going to have the proof they need to receive that compensation. And the fines they pay to the government will be less than the fines they would pay over the course of helping those who were wronged.
Yeah, I mean, that's the theory anyway. Like, there's no confirmation of that, but that's definitely the conversation going around. But yeah, it's just so absurd. Like, we've been, this show in this format is new, but we've been covering Blizzard games for over a decade. But this is just like a new level of like, are you kidding me? Are you serious? Like, how? Like, I don't know, man. Like, I can't help but laugh because it's just so infuriating.
We've been through a lot of stories and a lot of villains, so it's not like their audience would be bad at picking out villainy or seeing a story evolve.
Yeah, and it's just the kind of thing where you're just like, this just is so clearly not being handled well by ABK leadership. And so, like, at what point does the corporate leadership start being held accountable? Because so far they haven't. Not personally being a fan of Jalen Brack aside, like, again, no one at Blizzard was asking for him to be fired. So it just, so much of this just seems like, the term performative has been so overused in covering this, but I can't find a better word to describe what's going on. Like, every action by ABK leadership just seems performative. And like, they're just trying to make this go away and doing the bare minimum to be like, we're listening, we've got new leaders, or it's just laughably obvious in its attempts to brush things under the rug, like the new Call of Duty trailer. Like, why doesn't that have an Activision logo? It's like, I know why. It's like I don't think they're trying to pull one over on me. Clearly, I am very aware. You are very aware. Most people listening or watching this are probably very aware that Call of Duty is an Activision product, but I don't know. Are they? I guess, Kyle, they're trying to pull one over on like grandparents that are for some reason buying their grandchildren Call of Duty.
The interesting thing about what you just said there is that the grandparents are aware. Everybody's starting to know about this. Right? That's the absurdity of removing their name from the trailer. It's not for us. It's because everybody knows about this, and people are cautious to buy a product from them.
It's reached poison dog food levels of awareness.
Yeah, we're certainly beyond the tomatoes, the lettuce. It's always the romaine lettuce. That romaine lettuce.
Oh, when there's infections and stuff like, that's essentially what I'm getting at. Yeah, you have a good point. Like, as much as I was kind of joking, because I saw that thrown around a lot, because I was talking on Twitter as I usually do when news came out about like the Activision logo being absent from Call of Duty, and I was like, man, how dumb do they think we are? And a lot of people were quick to point out, like, well, it's not for us. And I'm like, yeah, I'm more than aware of this. That was my kind of like me in exhaustion and casting something out into the Twitter sphere. But you I think really dove into a finer point, which is just how much awareness there is now of this lawsuit against ABK, that it's just reached a new point. Like my parents are aware of it. Do you know how rare it is for my mom or my dad to like broach a Blizzard related talking point? Casual conversation. Like, it's just ridiculous. But again, it's like, I don't know. can't help but look at it a little bit as a positive, that it's like as much as I want to go, oh, for crying out loud, how dumb do you think we are not putting the Activision logo in your Call of Duty trailer? It should also, I think, be looked at as a positive that it has reached such critical mass awareness that Activision Blizzard is pulling these absurd levels of under rug sweeping.
I mean, Call of Duty Presents is an absurd rug to pull out of the closet.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Call of Duty Presents, another game coming out exactly when it always freaking does.
Presents Call of Duty. It stinks of human error. This is intensely human. This isn't made up by computers or aliens. This is panicked people attempting to salvage for their shareholders. This is reaching levels of absurdity I haven't seen before. And we play video games. Like we are all about escapism and absurdity.
Yeah. And like the community hasn't stopped. Like we're in the camp that are still playing the games that we like from Blizzard. You and I still play Heroes of the Storm together regularly. And the community of active players are still like not letting this go. Still being talked about. The employees at Blizzard, I don't really follow any from Activision because I don't play any Activision specific games as much as I play Blizzard games. But Blizzard employees are still on the loud horn about this. They're, as we showed one example, but it's far from the only example.
Well, and you don't need to look any further than just the number of quote unquote leaks in the air right now. There's a lot of fan fiction being made from people.
I'm so glad that's the direction you took that, by the way. Are you talking about that bullshit MMO champion comment?
Absolutely. And it is absurd. It is absolutely absurd that any of these things would have believability, that Blizzard would be renamed Insight, that Overwatch 2 would be canceled. Just in the simple business sense, those are outrageous. But the fact that they're being created and believed in such grand numbers really speaks for people's hope for this company. That they want these things to be true, and that even as absurd as it may get, they want it to be salvageable.
I don't know if I would look at that comment and say it comes from hope. I think it comes from like a perverse desire to want to see Blizzard fail,
or to get attention from YouTubers and streamers. But yes, it was created almost in a perfect factory lab of mind-boggling requests that fans would go for at this point.
Yeah. Like, yeah, I saw that thing and it was just too ridiculous to give any actual air of reality to. But I'm with you though. Like I see that as kind of a symptom of the community sentiment at the moment. Just we're all kind of flailing. But I think that's, at the end of the day, it's just kind of the world we're in right now. Like we are all very aware of this lawsuit now, and we want a human reaction from a corporate legal machine. And we're, no one's going to get that until the lawsuit is over. True. We're getting pieces of it. We're getting individual pieces of that humanity from, certain leaders, like the new leadership at Blizzard. We talked about it a few weeks ago. Even on the earnings call, they were kind of talking about their hopes for the future of the company. But the only real, I think, like earnest, kind of human responses that are coming out of this is, again, the Blizzard employees who are speaking up on social media and were a part of that walkout a few weeks ago.
And even if there was something good to say, they can't because they're going to court over this. Well, you could destroy documents. That's fine.
Yeah, and then that's another thing that came up in this as well, is that the FEH brought up other hardships in conducting their investigation, and specifically mentioned WilmerHale's involvement, and that where was it in here? They said that employees are being required to speak with ABK before being allowed to contact the DFEH. It doesn't go into specifics as like what required means. It also mentions NDAs, so it makes me wonder, like, are they warping pre-existing NDAs to say you're in breach of contract if you talk to DFEH before speaking to ABK first.
Well, this matches what we previously heard, that everything, one, wanted to be covered internally, but two, that the HR was about silencing these problems, which when you explore other companies actually gets a little bit interesting. So this is theory, but what happens is your upper echelons, your forward-facing managers and producers become popular. They start interacting with the public, which means that they can't have any secrets in their heads. They become essentially actors for the company, performers. And in that way, they're no longer responsible and managing their teams. They're not responsible for their teams, is a better way to say that. So HR steps in and makes sure that their life is golden, in a sense, that they're always happy and they never have any gripes in their heads. And so they're basically removed from this picture. However, it seems that this HR at Blizzard Activision did that in abundance, which is why we're always hearing about the higher-ups not knowing about the troubles in the actual office space areas.
I mean, there's also concerns that maybe they just didn't want to know.
That it could absolutely be true. But so what I'm showing is what has happened in other companies. When somebody moves from a management producer role to a forward-facing public role, their job essentially changes, and their working with HR transforms into basically a, if you want to call it, prima donna, somebody who needs to be taken care of, rather than somebody who does the taking care of other employees.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, since then, like, key leadership in HR have been fired. But it sounds like now Wilmer Hale has been brought up multiple times by the DFEH as being another thorn in the side of their investigation, because everything is going through either ABK leadership before it goes to DFEH, or ABK seems to be deflecting, saying, oh, well, the Wilmer Hale law firm is conducting an internal investigation. So all of it just seems like problematic HR leaders have been replaced by a problematic law firm.
I've got nothing to say, but that's sad.
Anyways, that's the latest update on what's going on with the lawsuit against Activision Blizzard. The whole reason we kind of started doing this game news coverage was to kind of give ourselves a place to continue reporting on this, as it is an ongoing story that really does not look like it's going to be over anytime soon. So when there's more major developments, we are going to continue doing this. Some folks were wondering why we didn't cover that leak. It's because you and I both thought it was pretty ridiculous. So I don't suspect we'll have more to say on the subject of the leak, Kyle, but I guess kind of we included that in this little talk. So
we're done with this. This is outrageous. Done. Project done. This was outrageous. It was posted multiple places. MMO Champion. It started on the forums. It may have even started on 4chan. So grain bag, big bags, truckloads of salt. This is wishful thinking.
Somebody's wishes. Somebody's. Yeah. So anyways, that's going to wrap it up for this one. We're on Twitter at Garrett Art, at Kyle Ferguson. Please like and subscribe for more content like this one. Been enjoying talking with you all in the comments and dusting off this old YouTube channel. And if you're listening on the podcast and you want to get in touch with us, write in itncast@gmail.com. That's going to do it for this episode of Nexus Gaming News. And until next time, good luck and have fun, everyone.
Take care.